everybody. Once again, I am Stephanie D. Sanders, and this is Docu-Series, the autobiographies of some very interesting people. Welcoming here with me in the studio is Miss Kathleen Powell. She's here to share just a little bit about herself and a bunch of transitions that happened in her life and give us some inspiration all at the same time. Welcome to the show, Miss Powell. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Now, you grew up as a military brat.
Yes, I did.
But were you guys really brats?
No, I think that was just a term for people whose parents are in the military.
I don't know.
I didn't consider myself a brat, but we lived a very nice life.
You don't know this one right here, no? And then her sister, oh my goodness.
My sister was a brat.
See there, one of them in the family. There's always one, right?
Yes.
It wasn't me though. I wasn't the brat. I was calm. I was nice. I just watched everybody else.
That's right, and learned.
Ms. Powell, tell us a little bit about what was it like for you guys growing up in the military?
My dad was part of the military police, so we got to do some very interesting things. As a young child, under 7, he was in charge of security for the Blue Angels. So we got to see some of their practices over White Sands, New Mexico. That was the thrill of my life, and my desire was to become a Blue Angel.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. So now in growing up in the military, you know, people make a lot of shifts and changes and moving and things like that. Were you guys able to really have a good, stable group of friends in your life? Or do you have just like a lot of friends all over the world, really, from moving from place to place?
Actually, moving from place to place, we didn't get to establish a lot of friendships. We had very good friends. We learned to make them quickly and learned to let go quickly.
Oh, wow.
Which was hard. But it ended when I was 11. We moved to Dundee. So after that, we did establish friendships, but it was very difficult having to say goodbye all the time.
Around what age were you when you guys actually settled in Dundee?
I was 11.
Okay, yes, you did say. Now, how many other siblings do you have?
I have a younger sister and an older brother.
Mm-hmm.
My older brother was always my protector, guardian angel. He would beat up on me, but anybody else that looked at me.
What? I thought I was the only one. Me and my brother would wrestle. Okay. It just made us that much tougher and stronger as women.
Yes, it did.
So what was it like growing up in the Powell household?
The Powell household really was a very extended family.
Mm-hmm.
Once we were out of the military and living in Dundee, because we had cousins everywhere. We were related to half the town, probably.
Oh, my.
So wherever we went, there were cousins. We were always at a group of probably 5 or 6 with some extra adopted cousins that would join us on our escapades through the town. But it was a very laid back, very quiet town at the time. It was before Disney, so it was very laid back. But we would ride our bikes all day. The thing I remember the most is we would ride our bikes until everybody collected enough soda bottles to take to the gas station, and everybody could get an RC and peanuts.
Oh, wow. I remember those days. Did you have the little ice cream man that would come around the street? Did you guys have an ice cream man that would ring that bell?
Yes, we did.
Oh, my goodness.
And we sometimes sit down and spend our entire allowance the first day. And then the rest of the time we didn't have money.
And it's like you hear that little ring and that bell. I mean, kids today, you guys, I mean, you have a different kind of a fun.
Yes.
Than we did. But it was just a joy, just the simplest things like that. So, I mean, it's great that we had those things to think about, and you had your siblings and your family to lean on back then and have a good time. But it's easy to see that you're a very caring person and you're fun-loving, which is a great, great thing. But it's obvious that you and I have some differences. Definitely. I mean, aside from, you know, me being brown and you being white and your hair is red right now and mine is black, we just have some differences.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about the skin condition that you have. Now, she's going to tell you the name because I would probably have to write it down 1,000 times. Tell us a little bit more about this particular skin condition that you have, and we'll get a little bit more in depth in just a second.
All right, it is called neurofibromatosis. It is a genetic condition. I recently learned it was connected to the 17th chromosome. There's nothing that can be done because it is with a chromosomal condition. It grows strange looking tumors that are non-cancerous.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not dangerous, it's not catching. It just happens. My dad had the same condition, and I never really thought about it much. I just knew that was my dad, that's the way he looked, and there was nothing we could do.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, where did it come from, or where did it fall in the family bloodline? Was your dad the first one, or did it go back even a little bit further than that?
That I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He's none of his uncles or grandparents or parents had the condition,
Mm-hmm.
along with his 9 siblings. None of them did, just him.
Wow.
And that has happened with other families. It just comes out of the blue. They've never had any history. It just happens.
So when you were growing up, did you ask him, Dad, what's that? What is that?
No, he always told me. It was called Von Rippling House,
Mm-hmm.
because it came from a royal family in England named Von Rippling. And they were the first ones, I guess, that it was documented that had the same condition.
So you guys are royalty?
We're royalty. And we even proved it recently with a family tree. So I go, yes.
So are we going to like Europe or whatever? Let's go and visit the family.
Yeah, so I just, okay, we're royalty.
Wow. Now, did you do the ancestry.com thing, or how did you guys find out that you were actually linked to that bloodline?
My dad did. You know, some of the bloodline we could. Some of it we couldn't because of family members in my ancestry being adopted and closed adoption records.
Mm-hmm.
But we look back with Von Rippling House, and I've seen that with several other people who said the same thing, that it was inherited, so we're probably related somewhere down the line. But it goes across races, it goes across any, because there's people in all countries
Mm-hmm.
who have this condition.
Mm-hmm.
It affects 1 in 3,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of special.
It is, because I noticed, I went to 2 different events, and it was interesting to notice 2 different people also had it as well. Now I was already exposed to it, so I was more familiar with it, but just to see the difference in the people, and what it did, or how it was looking with them, or how they were adjusting to it. And these 2 people, they were like, one was a pastor, and one I think she was a journalist or something like that, or she was a freelance writer or whatnot in Atlanta.
Cool.
But she was just as vibrant and fun, and had the cutest little baby, and all of that. And it was just a joy to see how they had really took a hold of something that some other people might get a little upset or down and out, or I can't change this, and blah, blah, blah. But just like you, they really had a really good attitude about things. And I love that. Now, you have 2 other siblings that you mentioned, a younger sister and a brother. Do either one of them have it as well?
My sister, yes. My brother, no.
Okay. So it's nothing that would just transfer down to everybody. It's kind of a pick and choose type of thing.
Right. You just don't know.
Wow. And then because it was on your dad, and then the 2 daughters got it instead of the son,
I was told once, and I don't know if it's true, it passes to opposite sex generation.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's any
Any truth about
gift to that, but it showed in our family it did.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there any type of an organization about this group?
Yes, there's I know there's a National Neurofibromatosis organization, but there's also a Facebook support system where people get on and talk to each other because some people have a really hard time.
Yes.
And that I understand. You know, I understand totally where they would have a hard time because it's a mindset.
Yes.
You have to have a mindset that this is part of me.
Well, I tell you what, we'll be back in just a moment to talk a little bit more with Miss Powell. We want to delve a little bit deeper into her story and how she has transitioned into the Powell that we see today. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. I'm Stephanie D. Sanders, and this is DocuSeries, the autobiographies of some very interesting people. Here today on the show, we have Miss Kathleen Powell, and she was telling us a little bit more about her skin condition called
neurofibromatosis.
See, they were telling us more about that and growing up, and then noticing that her father had it, and then just how her childhood was even prior to this. But we wanted to get a little bit further into things and to find out when did it actually start to develop. What stage were you at in life when it started to happen?
I was working at a detention facility in Bartow for girls who had been incarcerated when some started appearing on my face. I was late 20s at that time. And it was just there. It came so slowly that I really didn't think about it. But that's about was the start. But I knew it was there. And I knew at that point I could either become depressed and not happy, or I could just keep on being happy and live life just like a normal person, because everybody has something on them that they don't like.
True. Now that is true, because I could definitely run down a laundry list.
Yes. And I laugh at people sometimes. Oh, I've got this little freckle. I go, so?
Right. Or a little pimple that popped up last week or something like that. And I have the video. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, when they started to show up, what were you thinking in your mind? Is this something that, okay, this is the only amount that I'm going to see, or were you already prepared, for more coverage of them?
I was preparing my mental mind at that time. I thought, okay, this could be one or two, but it could again get a whole bunch, because I have seen some people who were even way more affected than me.
Wow.
And I knew it could be coming. And I just had to make the decision. Was I going to have a happy life and enjoy life? Or was I going to be depressed and hide and do nothing?
But did they cause you any kind of pain or anything like that?
Sometimes, because they do attach themselves to nerves. And there's places that it can be, if you're poked or hit or sometimes touched, it can affect and hurt on the nerves. And then sometimes there's internal ones.
Really?
That will attach to a nerve.
So internal and external. Wow.
Right. But I've had MRIs that have shown that there are not internal ones on important
areas,
yes,
and things like that.
Some people have all internal, and they attach to the organs, and it can be fatal.
I'm sure. Wow, because there's
and painful. Much more painful.
Yes, and painful. My goodness. So when you noticed, okay, they're here, there may be more coming, did you find yourself at the very beginning stages of it more concerned or even a little down or anything like that? Because you were in your 20s then, right?
Yes.
Were you in college, out of college, or?
I was out of college.
Okay.
I had had my 4 years of college, and I had taught school for 3 years at that point. That I started working at the place. It was called the Start Center, and that's when they became more and more visible.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided I have to go on with life.
Mm-hmm.
I also decided I would not have children.
Okay, because it can pass down.
Yes, because I did not want to pass this to my children.
Mm-hmm.
And about that point, I decided it would be best probably not to get married.
Why is that now?
Because I would think a husband would want some of his own biological children.
Mm. You know, some people, they can go either way. Some people don't care. Some people don't. You know. Wow. So you had
Yes.
already made up your mind at that time. Okay, I'm not having kids, and I'm probably not just going to get married. I'm just going to leave that alone too.
Yes. And at that point, I started looking into adoption.
Okay.
Which led me on kind of a long journey.
Mm-hmm. Because you have 2 daughters.
I had, yes. Yes, I do. And the first one, I guess I obtained, I had been to different adoption agencies.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, there was no adoption to single parents. But I was talking to a DCF caseworker that came to my class on another student. And I had told her what I wanted to do. And she goes, I have just the child for you.
Okay.
And she said, we just passed laws that single parents can now adopt children.
Look at that.
Right. So she invited me to the office to meet the girl. And she was about to lose her 35th foster placement in 6 months.
35?
Yes. So
35 and you're...
Okay.
What was going through your mind? 35? I'm going to be 36.
My I can do this mode took over because I'm very strong-willed. I go,
strength.
This will be her last one.
For real, I'd have had to.
Yes.
35? Did you say 35?
It was funny. In later years we laughed about this a lot.
Wow. So you went on and you adopted your first daughter.
Right.
Okay. So you immediately went into mommy mode. And how old was she when you adopted her?
She was 5.5 when she came to live with me.
Okay.
But the court system took an additional 3 years to finalize the adoption.
Now that's dedication.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my friends call me crazy and they just, are you sure? I go, yes, I'm sure. I can see the potential in her. I see she's got good in her.
This baby is 5. She's already developed her own little personality.
But I was already teaching a class of children with behavior disorders at the time.
There we go.
Yes.
She was already prepared. She was already teaching.
Yes.
Young people who were already having some behavior issues. Okay, so you were groomed.
Yes.
For this. You were prepared for it and you went and stepped into that. But that was something that you felt in your heart and your spirit to do. So nobody can say anything about it. This is what you chose
exactly
to do. So you took on a 5-year-old.
I took on a 5-year-old.
How long in between before you took on another daughter?
At that point, we became foster parents. My sister and I took the classes and we were foster parents.
Okay.
So we had a lot of children come and go out of our house.
Mm-hmm.
I never kept count like some people do.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people were in and out of the house. And one evening, I think it was probably about 7 years later.
Oh,
right. We had a lot of kids with that.
Okay.
I got a call. And they said, we have a 13-month-old. She's been at the office crying the last 12 hours. Would you take her? And I said, are you sure 13 months,
right?
Not 13 years? I said, I'll take a 13-month-old. But they brought the second child to me, and she took one look at me, this baby who had been screaming for 12 hours.
Goodness gracious.
Very, very deep look into my eyes. Stopped screaming for maybe 2 minutes. I said, I'll take her. But she was very, very tiny, very underweight. She was a 13-month-old wearing size 6-month clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And my job was, yes, I can do this.
Yes, you can do this. It's going to be full time, but yes, you can do this.
Yes.
But you know what? You had another support system with your sister.
Exactly.
So that was a really good thing, that you really, God really set you guys up for this.
Yes,
You
He
had your
did.
sister, you had that support system, you had your oldest daughter in the home as well.
Yes.
You had already been through fostering with multiple children, so you were pretty much able to handle any level that they came in on.
Yes.
You know, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, you could handle it. So this was really a calling for you, because it's not a calling for everybody to do those types of things, from fostering or adoption, but it's a wonderful thing that you were able to do that for her. You know,
Yes.
and
Well,
how
it was God.
did you all adjust to having pretty much an infant and a teenager? Sounds like she was the older daughter was probably in 10 or 11 by
Yes,
that time.
I think she was.
So was the older daughter helpful with you guys and the new baby?
Yes, she was. She was very
Mhm.
helpful. She was like a regular big sister. My sister Darlene stayed home from work,
Mm-hmm.
and her work was to take care of the kids in the house.
To manage the house, okay.
Right.
And
well,
you
I
kept
kept
teaching.
teaching.
Yeah.
Uh,
And see, that's another thing. You see how Miss Powell took a situation that a lot of other people might be like, I just can't deal with this. I'm gonna stay in the house all the time, and she just put herself out there in so many different ways, with the fostering, adopting a child, and teaching. Teaching is something that you're putting yourself out there in the presence of other people that you have absolutely no relationship with. Every single year you're getting new kids, new parents, so it's a constant thing of people seeing you, getting to know you. How did some of the parents adjust to you once they got that first initial look at you? Oh, this is my child's teacher. What was the feedback from that you got in the initial years, and then later on?
Actually, I never got any negative feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking through this last night. I never had a parent who had negative feedback on the way I looked.
Wow, that's great.
They, I think what they saw was how much I cared about their child.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
I love these kids like they were my own. I could take them all home. Mm-hmm. Some of them in earlier years, I did take home for a day or two. Some would come spend weekends with me because the parents needed a break, and they were just cool kids.
Wow.
So
volunteering her services, that's another thing that she's done. It's such a positive to see how you have transitioned from a situation that you had absolutely no control over, that really took over your life, and not just like in general, but it took over your life from the outside, something so visible that people can see and experience, in being around you. You took that and you made it into such a positive. And that's why I wanted to really have you on the show, because just to think about all the things you've gone through with the condition that you have, and then you made such an effort, a conscious effort to better yourself even after the fact, with the teaching and the volunteering and the daughters. I really, really like that. But now you are retired.
Retired, yes.
You are truly happy. But aren't you happy? Because you're at home most of the time with your youngest daughter, right?
Which is a challenge in itself.
She is cute as she can be. She is so interesting, so vibrant. I mean, I'm over here stomping at the same time I'm talking, because she is a character within herself.
Definitely.
When I'm gonna have to do something to have her on and talk to her, and then get Darlene's side of the story. That's another side for us. But I just want to tell you, thank you so much, Ms. Powell, for the way that you adjusted to the situation. Thank you for being the encouragement that you are to other people, with the way that you've handled things. And this is for everyone else out there too. But like she said, we all have something to deal with. We all have something to go through in our lives, but it's how we handle that when we go through. It's not going to always be perfect, but when
No.
we can find certain people like Ms. Powell to be an inspiration to us, either in person or from afar, you know, that just lets us know we can make it. We can make it. You
Yeah.
can get past anything. If you're still walking around and your eyes are open on this earth, you can still make it.
Yes.
That's an encouragement for you, me, and everyone else. So, Ms. Powell, any parting words for the guest here on the show today?
Just be happy and enjoy yourself exactly like you are.
Exactly like you are. Thank you so much, Ms. Kathleen
You're
Powell, for
welcome.
being on the show. And we thank you guys for watching another edition of docu-series, The Autobiographies of Some Very Interesting People.
The end.